Our next speaker is Dave Hood. Dave's a member of the group that I belong to, the Point Grey Foreshore group. And I asked Dave, you know, how do I introduce you? And he said, I'm just a regular guy. Introduce me as a regular guy. And yeah, Dave is a regular guy, but he's a pretty special regular guy because he cares and he gets involved in so many issues that are important to our community. He's fought to make sure we have a transit that works in our community. When we came up with the Broadway transit plan, they were trying to ram, you know, things through. He's involved with the Point Grey Foreshore and its issues. And anytime something comes up, Dave is there. And yeah, he may be regular, but he's a pretty special regular guy. So Dave, thank you.
Thanks, Mel, for your kind words. My name is Dave Hood, and I'm with the Point Grey Foreshore Society, and I'd like to thank you all for coming this evening to hear about this crisis that threatens our community and threatens our foreshore. As I said, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a politician, I'm just a regular guy, a resident who's concerned about the preservation and protection of our foreshore, our harbor, and our way of life. The Point Grey Foreshore is a rare urban ecosystem that needs to be protected. It needs to be conserved. It runs from Kitsilano Beach out past Jericho to Point Grey. And out, okay, thank you. Is this better? Okay, thank you. It runs out to Spanish Banks in Point Grey. It is unique. The foreshore is home to over 150 species of birds and scores of other intertidal life. It also hosts the last unspoiled section of the foreshore in Vancouver. If we allow tanker expansion to occur, transit through Vancouver will increase to over 300 tankers a year in 2016. This has increased from 82 in 2010 and 22 in 2005. Vancouver in the last 10 years has already grown tenfold in tanker traffic. The Suezmax tankers that are being considered are enormous vessels. To take, for example, they are 10 times larger than the largest BC ferry. These Suezmax tankers can carry almost 1 million barrels of bitumen. This is over 4 times the amount that spilled in the Exhal Valdez spill, and over 40 times more than spilled into the Kalamazoo River in 2010. Tanker traffic in Burrard Inlet is akin to playing Russian roulette with our foreshore, our beaches, and our city. It's not a matter of if a spill will occur. It is a matter of when a spill will occur. It is an actuarial certainty. At some point, it is going to happen. One simply has to ask the residents of Kalamazoo, Michigan, about the effects that bitumen has had on their ecosystem, their river, and their city. Every additional bitumen-carrying tanker that plies the waters of Burrard Inlet is another bullet into the chamber in this insane game of Russian roulette. It is a game we will lose, and the results will be horrific. A major oil spill would have disastrous effects on our foreshore, and the cleanup and operation would do little to repair the environmental damage, and the results of the cleanup would be marginal at best. An oil spill involving a tanker in our harbor would not only permanently destroy our foreshore, but it would permanently change the lives of citizens in the entire region. One oil tanker, one spill of bitumen into the harbor, and it would all be permanently destroy our precious foreshore. This is a risk not worth taking. The cost is simply too high. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Dave. I think he's brought home pretty clear that this isn't some academic exercise, it's not some quiz, it's not some test, it's something that's really would dramatically and forever change our beloved Burrard Inlet and our beloved Vancouver and our beloved Kitsilano and our beloved foreshore. So thank you. Now, before we get to the next speaker, because it's always important to bring culture into everything, we have another group who's going to sing for us. And there's a story to this one, because when I sent out an announcement about this meeting, I got a call from my friend Barry Trudeau over here, who said, gee, Mel, I just wrote a song about this. I'm so upset about it. And I just want so much to share it with you. Well, Barry happens to be part of a singing group that's been singing for 25 years, Fraser Union. So we're getting a pretty good group here that's going to sing us a song especially written, not for this occasion, because he wrote it before he even knew about this. He cares passionately. And we're so lucky to have him. So Barry Truder, Hank Pickett, and Roger Holstock from Fraser Union are going to sing their special song tonight.
There we go.
The chord is short.
Do you like the choreography? Yeah. All right. Little set redesign here as well. So this song was inspired by an event that happened in front of the art gallery on March 26th. And I know Ben was there. He was speaking there. It was a rally. In front of the art gallery. Randy, I think you were there, I believe. Tantu Cardinal was there. There were about 500 people in the rain listening to some fantastic speakers, including an 11-year-old girl who sang a wonderful song and talked. And then we walked down Barad, and we marched down Barad, and then we marched down in front of the Enbridge offices, chanting as we went. When it certainly invigorated me, and the next day I went to sleep that night. The next day I woke up with this chorus in my head. So if you ever wonder whether you know, a rally has any impact at all, it certainly does have an impact on a songwriter. It's a chorus that we'd like to teach to you to sing with us as we sing the song. So you'll pick up on it pretty easily. Chorus is very simple. Goes, no tankers on our coast, no pipelines across our land. I don't think I have to explain that to this audience, right? Okay. Okay, guys, you coming here to help me out?
We'll manage. We'll get in there.
Do you want to come around the other side?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, here we go. River is sacred, river is free, river runs gracefully down to the sea. Ancient valleys, forests of pine, my soul is at rest in these mountains sublime. Raven and eagle, beaver and bear, wondrous wilderness equally shed. A living landscape deeply imbued, spirit and flesh in cycle renewed. No tankers on our coast, no pipelines across our land. No tankers on our coast, no pipelines across our land. That's your bit. No tankers on our coast, no pipelines across our land. No tankers on our coast, no pipelines across our land. Mist on the water silently clears, and out of the deep a vast shape appears. flash of a fin, twist of a tail, surface submerge, leaving no trail. I watched in wonder, I gazed in awe, stunned by the beauty of what I saw. No tankers on our coast, no pipelines across our land. No tankers on our coast, no pipelines across our land. This beauty is ours to protect at all cost. We cannot regain what once we have lost. Scars on the land, spills in the sea. Is this what our grandchildren's future will be? Or is there a better legacy? River and ocean, unburdened and free. No tankers on our coast, no pipelines across our land. No tankers on our coast, no pipelines across our land. No tankers on our coast, no pipelines across our land. No tankers on our coast, no pipelines across our land. No tankers on our coast, no pipelines across our land. No tankers on our coast, no pipelines across our land.
Fraser Union.
Remember that chorus. We're going to sing it a lot over the next few months, okay? And that song is now going to be up on YouTube with some wonderful slides in the background while that song is singing. So go check it out on YouTube. All right.
Look for Pipeline Blues.
It's amazing how you can get a message across in song, isn't it? Okay, so I just want to tell you we've got 2 speakers left, and then we're going to have an open mic where some will be coming around the audience, and you can make a comment or a question, and we'll try to answer them if it's a question. But first, we'll go through the other 2 speakers, and the first is Commissioner Constance Barnes. Constance has been on the park board now for a few years, and she's been very, very concerned about issues relating to the environment. She's always taken a strong position, and she's one thing I really like, I asked her, you know, what her priorities are, and so she sent me a list, and there's a whole list here: affordable childcare options, affordable post-secondary education, less student debt. But of course, right strong in there are 2 things that are so relevant to what we're talking about tonight. Improved public transit, as Ben pointed out. Until you improve public transit, thank you, Constance, but that's what we got to do. And the other thing, I'm glad someone mentioned this, Constance, defend the Kitsilano Coast Guard Station. Yeah.
You asked for a list. I know, I was like typing. I was like, ooh, 2 pages might be too much.
It's been a busy day.
There's a lot of work to be done. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's a great turnout. And of course, I'd like to acknowledge that we're standing on Coast Salish territory, and always grateful for that. I think I will start by reading out the motion that passed unanimously at the Vancouver Park Board. And this is dated April 16th. Whereas Kinder Morgan has recently announced plans to pursue the expansion of Trans Mountain Pipeline to nearly triple its capacity to transport crude oil through Burrard Inlet. Whereas if the proposed expansion occurred, it would result in larger tankers transporting crude oil at a high frequency through Burrard Inlet. Whereas the Vancouver Park Board is mandated to provide, preserve, and advocate for parks, to provide, preserve, and advocate for parks for the benefit of all citizens of Vancouver. Whereas the Vancouver Park Board manages 24 kilometers of waterfront along Burrard Inlet, English Bay, and False Creek, including many beaches and parks such as Stanley Park. Whereas the Vancouver Park Board has invested and continues to invest in the projects to restore the natural environment around our waterways, including the creation of saltwater marsh at New Brighton Park and the restoration of Jericho Wharf. Whereas our waterfront spaces are an integral component of Vancouver's recreational lifestyle. Whereas the increase in oil tanker traffic through the Burrard Inlet places our waterfront at greater risk of contamination from an oil spill. Therefore, be it resolved that the Vancouver Park Board is strongly opposed to any expansion of the Trans Mountain Pipeline. So this motion was actually put forward by Commissioner Nikki Sharma, and it was passed unanimously. I want to also say thank you to Mel, because he came out in full force last night, because we had a motion on the table that looked at seawall, and the seawall, a continual seawall from Kitts across to Jericho. And it was loud and clear that the people want to leave that beautiful foreshore as it is.
Yeah. Let her hear it.
So with that being said, it was tabled, it was deferred, and I think the only thing that we will look at is if we can possibly make sure that people with accessibility and disability issues can also access that piece of property. Other than that, it will stay as is. So a little of my history, I was born and raised on the Barnett Highway. So Port Moody, to be exact. And for those of you that remember my father, Emery Barnes, we had a funky little tiny house, you know, the days when you could buy one for $6,000. They now call it waterfront property. But every morning we would wake up and there were the huge mounds of sulfur. We had explosions, there were leaks. The smell that you spoke of, Ben, I lived day in and day out. Port Moody was a melting pot. It was the people that immigrated, the people that struggled through what my family did, which was the civil rights movement, white mother, black father. So what I wanted to bring tonight, I mean, yes, it's Park Board Commissioner, but it's also, I consider myself very much like the speaker who was just up. I'm a citizen. I'm born and raised here. This is my city. My mom and dad would cram us all into the Volkswagen. Those were the days. And we would go to the beach, and there used to be sand dollars, and there used to be starfish, and there used to be so much more on those beaches than I see now. Like, I don't think my kids have ever seen a sand dollar. And the beautiful colors and the seaweeds and all those things, they seem to me to be gone. I actually live in Kitts Point. I rent a very small little suite in a corner of a house, you know, and I heard loud and clear last night that we need to stand strong. What I wanted to say is, you know, when I was raised, we used to come together and there was that strong voice. I came from a family where The civil rights movement was, you know, a dad who married a woman who was white. My mother was disowned. So what was their fight? Their fight was equal rights. Their fight was the civil rights movement. Their fight allows every person in this church right now, because I see every single color, every walk of life, every age, every, you know, religion, and we're all sitting here together. There's no crosses burning outside. There's nobody out there getting ready to shoot me because I'm, you know, sitting here with a bunch of Caucasian people or whatever it may be. But guess what? 100 years ago, slavery was okay. 100 years ago, you could buy yourself a black person. And what I'm saying is, this is that cathedral thinking, where and here we are in a cathedral, and you look back at these, you know, centuries ago, where they were building these massive cathedrals, but they were thinking so far ahead that they were already planting forests so that the beams that they were using, which were humongous, 200 and 300 years from when these cathedrals would finally be finished, there were still forests with beams so that it could be continued. So when I say cathedral thinking, I have a 23 and a 24-year-old. Am I going to allow tanker trucks to be coming into this foreshore, into our waters, so that my daughter and my son can say, oh, I remember when Mom used to take us and there was actually a beach. Well, I remember sand dollars and I don't see those now. So am I going to put my children and their children at risk by allowing tankers coming into this waters? Absolutely no. No way. No way. So what I heard on the news today too was our premier saying, well, we're not getting enough money. She was negotiating money. And in my mind, I'm sitting there going, okay, this isn't about money. There is no price you can pay to save our environment. This should not be about money. So I think what I'd like to see is for every person here to speak to everybody you know, because this is where the voices, I mean, a perfect example was last night. When people came out last night, we all kind of went in there going, yeah, it's a seawall. Yeah, it'll be nice to kind of build a little something and attach this and that and the other. But it's also okay to say, you know what, maybe not so much. It's okay to say, we're wrong. You know, it's okay to say, okay, we need to rethink this. I think this needs to be rethought. I think that we're in very serious risk here of losing something that we can never get back. So we need to be loud. We need to be extremely squeaky. We need to be, yay, grannies. I'm coming up right behind you. And this is about getting your kids out there, as small as they are, as young as they are, to our wonderful grandparents, to every ethnic background. I'd like to see everybody in this city come together, be really strong, be really loud, voice your opinion. You know, it doesn't mean that we're crazy. It just means that we love where we live, and we're not going to allow any amount of money take away our home and our environment. So thank you very much for your time. And yay, no tankers. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Constance. You know, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but boy, your dad would be proud of you. He had the biggest bear hug of any human being I've ever met. And when he held your hand, ooh, crunched. He's with you. And, you know, I saw that. But she's her own person. And this is slightly off topic, but I wasn't going to raise it, but she did, so I've got to follow through. And yeah, we were at the park board yesterday, and we thought we were up against something pretty rough. They seemed to be hell-bent to create a seawall. And we came in there and we talked, and I was so impressed with the way they listened. They asked questions, they heard, and then they made a change in their direction. And it's not very often you see politicians do that. And Constance, you've taught us a lesson. Not only did you do it, but we can make the politicians in Ottawa and the politicians in Victoria all over the world change, and we can stop these oil tankers. Thank you.